Thank you, everybody, and thank you, Monica, for showing my lovely photograph of Oodgeroo that I have drawn by an architect and paid for myself. To show everybody Oodgeroo. I think it's going to be the most important image from this whole election. Hope it is anyway. So, just to start, I'd like to acknowledge the country of the people, the traditional owners of the lands, winds, and communities that we call residents, and pay my respects to the elders, past, present, and future, and to acknowledge me not for being here tonight as well. Just to kick off a little bit about me. Many of you know me already, but I'll just quickly go through it. I moved to Finland in 2004. Like many of you, I was drawn by the beautiful lifestyle here, by the beautiful environment, and by the proximity to the water. We've heard all of that from Ian and also from Monica as well. Often people ask me, are you married? I know, just saying, how much I am married. I've been married for 25 years and to the same person, which is quite unusual. I have 3 children. I've got a few Sheldon College ones here. All of my children went to Sheldon College until recently. One of my daughters is now at State School in the city, which means we know an awful lot about public transport and trains in Cleveland because she travels to the city every day. I drop her off at the station, she catches a train and then a bus. It's an hour and a half each way to go to school. She spends 3 hours a day travelling from Cleveland. She's a very brave girl. Anyway, a lot of my time is spent on the water in terms of my leisure activities. I'm a keen advocate of canoeer. I compete in a squad. We compete at national level, so much of my time, Saturdays and Sunday mornings, is out on the water, where we see all of the amazing wildlife in the bay. We regularly see dugongs, turtles, and often we have dolphins following us, and they swim under our boats, and it's quite amazing. I'm also a keen yachtswoman. I don't own a boat, but I'm very fortunate. I'm in a competitive team, so someone else pays for the boat. It gives me drinks and food, and encourages me to sail for free, so it's amazing. In terms of charitable work, I'm a Queensland coordinator. Just a little average. I'm a Queensland coordinator for a national charity called Everything Big Helps. We provide care packs for homeless and disadvantaged families, and also for victims of domestic violence. So that's one of the charity groups that I support. I'm also a keen supporter of the homeless. As Ian has mentioned already today, we have a real issue with homelessness, and there are homeless people in the Redlands. Like many of you, I own rental properties, but I prioritise giving those properties to homeless people to try and get them back into traditional housing. And that way they get references and they can then move into the more traditional rental market. That would be perfect. Thank you very much. Right, so a bit about my background and why I am the excellent person to represent you for Oodgeroo. I have run my own business in the Redlands for 21 years. I've been a successful CEO of that business. It was a professional consultancy in the engineering and scientific field. I have worked all over Australia. I've worked on some of the biggest projects in Australia, major infrastructure projects. I've worked for mines, I've worked for industry, and I've worked for the government. As a businesswoman, I've employed people, and I've employed locals, I've employed young people and old people. I know what it's like to run a business, and I know what it's like in these difficult circumstances at the moment. Now, I'm running for politics, but I'm actually not a political person, believe it or not. Until a year ago, I hadn't even met any of our state MPs. I have never been in a political party locally or nationally here in Australia, and I don't intend to be. I intend to be the voice of the community, and I intend to represent what we need as a community in State Parliament. As a professional, I have always had to be independent and ethical. People would not believe the advice I gave them if I hadn't taken that approach. And that is the approach that I believe all politicians should follow. The advice I have given has included drafting legislation at federal level and at state level and local level. And I have advised at all levels of government, including working on projects for the federal government that have been assessed under the EPBC legislation. So I have a real in-depth understanding of the legislative requirements and demands at all levels of government. Now, one of the fun things that I do is I go to court and I look at expert evidence. Now, for most people, that will just send shivers down their spine to stand in court and be cross-examined by barristers. Now, I absolutely adore it. I'm one of the few women that actually use expert evidence in court, but it's taught me a number of things. It's taught me that you do need to look at the evidence. You need to be across all of the information, absorb the facts, make your own mind up about what those facts tell you, and then present that back. And that way, you will have integrity, you will have decisions that are soundly based on fact and evidence. What concerns me is we don't seem to have that with many of our current politicians, and that is the approach that I would take forward if I was elected. So, why independence? Now, who can tell me who this lovely lady is here standing with me as a parliament? And you don't. She took the photograph. So does anyone know who this lovely lady is? No? Does anybody know if we have any independents currently in this state parliament? So who is it? That's a member for Noosa, that is Sandy Bolton. So we already have an independent candidate. Now another question, would we prefer to be like the Gold Coast or like Noosa, like Noosa? I think we all know the answer to that. Let's emulate Noosa moving forward and not emulate the Gold Coast. So why independent? We are non-partisan. We are going to give the very best that we can for our community. We will represent that community. And we will support policies that represent that community. And we will make decisions on behalf of the whole community in Queensland as well. And we will not listen to that entire and lock ourselves into two-party politics. Because we're not spending the other party in the opposition, we can divert all of our energy towards better outcomes for everybody. I would like to think that we can set much higher standards of behaviour than we have in current politicians, and to me we need a higher level of statesmanship in our politicians than we currently see. And I really do think it should be emulating Noosa, and you should have an independent MP in Oodgeroo. So what can an independent achieve? This is a question that a lot of people are asking me at the moment. You're not going to be in government, so what can you achieve? Well, the reality is you can do an awful lot. And Sandy actually told me that. I've met with her a number of times, and she said you can actually achieve a great deal as an independent. But often those things aren't the big ticket spending things that we get told, a lot of money for major infrastructure projects and things like that. But the reality is a lot of those statements are actually smoke and mirrors. Now let's think about the MP that we have at the moment representing Oodgeroo. Our current MP is in the Liberal Party, which isn't in government. Now I first met Mark Robinson when I was running for mayor back in February this year, and he's a really pleasant guy. You know, he welcomes you in his office and had a good chat with him. But when I asked him what he was doing for the community, he basically shrugged his shoulders and said, well, I'm actually in opposition today, so there's actually nothing I can do. So not a great deal I can do. And that really concerned me. An independent MP is not in opposition. You are actually somebody that all of the parties can meet with and talk to and try and reach a consensus with. So an independent MP has a greater chance of getting things done, certainly with somebody in opposition. I don't know if you know, but the crossbench and all MPs have the right to develop and have bills debated in Parliament. And over the years, many independent MPs have had bills debated in Parliament, and they have been successful in getting those accepted and her full legislation. Going back to this photograph, you'll find that many election announcements are actually projects that are already in process. Projects like main roads take 5 to 10 years to plan. They do not happen overnight, so much of the election announcements that you hear are actually for proposed projects that are simply being brought forward or are simply being announced at the right time. So please don't believe a lot of the big money spending that you talked about. And just because I can't say those things doesn't mean to say they're not going to happen anyway if you have visual everything. planners will do is work extremely closely with other MPs and also with the state government departments to try and get things done locally that don't necessarily cost the big sums of money that we see there. So I've got a number of key policy intents. I'll just quickly talk about, give you an overview of those, and then I'll go into some detail, and I'll cover as many as I can with the time that we've got. Just the whole show is fine. So in terms of key policies, what I see at the moment is that really Redlands is a dormitory suburb. It's been like that pretty much since I arrived here back in 2004. And I shouldn't see a great deal happen that has changed that. We seem to be building more houses, and we've seen that that is going to rejuvenate the local economy. The reality is that to generate short-term jobs, we won't necessarily generate the economic growth that we need in the long term. So what I really want to do is try and transform Redlands into a city in its own right, where we can both work, entertain our children, and have all of the things that we need. And that in turn feeds into some of those things that Ian was talking about as well as Monica, in that that would then reduce our need for more infrastructure and possibly at times more public transport as well, if we can actually live, work and play in Redlands. I'm a firm believer in a transition and a controlled transition over time to a renewable energy future. I'm a pragmatist. I realise that the Australian economy is firmly based around the resources sector, and I believe we will need to continue with that, but it should be a non-fossil fuel mineral sector, and we will continue to rely on that moving forward. But that will also assist us in terms of a renewable energy economy, because that will provide us with those rare metals that we need for some of those really innovative technologies that support that renewable energy future. I think we all agree that we can improve planning and development. I'll cover on that. I'm incredibly concerned that some of the media at the moment that appears to be trying to drive a wedge between our communities and also the Parliament, and I think it's fundamental that we unify and work together to achieve outcomes for our community on the island. And like my opinion, I also firmly believe that we need to support the marginalised in our community and those that are disadvantaged, and that they should be afforded a better lifestyle, and that we can do that in a way that will also support the economy. Now, in my engineering background, I love to see big pieces of land that will allow me to put really excellent projects on. So when I look at the salmon marketplace on Oodgeroo, the review said to me that that may be something where we have an opportunity to do something really great for the island. So when I was successful in the mayoral campaign, one of the things I talked about was renewable energy solutions for residents. So I linked up with a local renewable energy engineer, Trevor Barrell, and we sat down together and thought about what we could do in terms of renewable energy for Oodgeroo. And we came up with a plan to develop a solar hydro power station on the island using 2 pits at differential heights on the Sound line. And using 2 pits at differential heights means you can generate electricity both during the night and during the day, and you can provide energy security for the whole island. Currently the island does get cut off quite regularly in terms of its power supply, and this solution would actually achieve that outcome. So in terms of some local initiatives, I've put forward a number of ideas in relation to rejuvenating the Clifton Town Centre. I'm currently working with the president of the Clifton Town Centre Program Association. I've also put forward some policies to have distributed work centres based in Redlands, using currently disused buildings that will allow local state workers not to have to travel into the city every day for work. I've also put together a proposal for a technology park at the former research station, and that would be something similar to the Brisbane Technology Park. And I'm also looking at a range of additional renewable energy projects for the Redlands. And we can just go to the next one. That's the next slide. Here we go. Okay, I've got a few notes in this. This is actually down at Redland Bay. You see the houses that are all right next door to each other. Now that issue is actually under the Queensland Development Code, which is a state planning issue, and there is an exemption for garages under that code. And that is the reason why those properties are so close together. It's because the garages are exempt. So you can actually put them with no setback, zero setback. And that's why that's happening. The problem we have at the moment is the state government's blaming the council and the council's blaming the state government. So we actually need to sort that out. If we go to the next slide. Just leave that. You all know about it, that Monica put up a beautiful photograph of mine. You all know about it, you all know about it, you might just finish it. So you just want to go forward to the last slide. No, just the last one. There we go. So the message I want to leave you with is, I would like to give you an independent future for all. Only with independence in politics will we get out of the current mudslinging that we have, and the very confrontational politics that we have. Now, a great quote that I had from some of the people markets was that we're actually stuck choosing between Coke and Pepsi. They said to me, they all taste the same, and the taste isn't that great. They said that what we really want is a real alternative to the current politics, and finally, clearly, have given us a choice.